Here are my 8 tips to survive a crisis. It's probably not going to be a video to survive a true. No, I'm not going to make a disclaimer. However this finds you, I think these tips can be useful for you. And yeah, I hope it helps. And know that you're not alone. The first one would probably be to create, and these are not in particular order, but kind of. My first tip would be to create safety for your body. I think when we're in a crisis, we immediately start to forget kind of about the most basic things. But the most basic things are shelter, food, and sleep. These things you do have to, prioritize. So shelter, that's, kind of a separate kind of topic. But eat well, eat at regular hours, even if you're not hungry, even if even if it's hard, just try your best to eat at regular hours and eat healthy. And by eating healthy, I mean eating vegetables, eating fruits, eating protein, and eating carbs at every meal, and eating several times a day to do that. I would avoid alcohol. I would only drink, water, and avoid coffee as well. That's another big thing I would as well. If you can drink tea, herbal tea, or even caffeinated tea, but I think even like any kind of tea will always be better, do that instead of having coffee, and avoid alcohol and things like that. I know it's very easy to cope or want to cope with that, but it's gonna really be difficult for your body. When you're in a crisis, your body is the place that it lands. And so supporting it in all the ways that are possible and having all these things go through you, you have to create safety for it. And safety also goes through the food, but also through sleep. So you need to prioritize sleep. There isn't much you can do in terms of like, how can I say? If you don't sleep, it's gonna be tough, but you have to do your best. And the way you do that is also by practicing relaxation. So you do need to find practices that help you relax. I'll talk a little bit later about certain boundaries that you can have, but practicing already kind of relaxation techniques. So it could be yoga, it could be a slow walk in the evening, it could be where you disconnect also from your devices and you try to relax your mind, because if there's tension in the mind, there's tension in the body. If there's tension in the body, there's going to be tension in the mind. So try yoga is another one as well. I've been meditating. I've recently been doing yoga. It's amazing. I've been meditating for years now, but it truly helps to lower the cognitive load and slowly make you relax your mind, and learn also to create some space in your body, but also in your mind, away from your thoughts. I would 100% do that. Another one to kind of prioritize sleep as well is to have a slow, no blue light routine, evening routine, I say. I will share mine that I've kind of arrived now for the past, I don't know, I guess a few months now, but like maybe 2.5 months, 3 months. So my routine is that I have a meal. Sometimes I eat late. It just happens. But whatever, I have that, evening meal. After my evening meal, I try to avoid looking at my screens, except I do watch a YouTube video while I massage my trapeze, because they get, I think I hit my mic, because they get very tight. So I self-massage at night, my trapeze and my neck. That really has been helping also to relax. So I do watch a video, but I am very mindful about the type of content that I watch. I've been watching, as I said, The Pit. It's too activating. I can't watch that. But now I'm watching Shameless, so I also can't watch that at night. So I need like some relaxing, sort of calm content. So whatever that is for you, there's different types of videos that you can watch. If you don't watch, if you can listen to even like a podcast or things like that, super helpful, but if you do want to watch something, just try to make sure that it's relaxing and not too activating for your mind. So I do massage my trapeze. I do have like a meal at night. I do massage my trapeze. I do avoid like activating content. I also have been drinking CBD tea. That has also been helping. So I do CBD tea as well. And that's more specific because that's just what my acupuncturist has me do. I do apply moxa on, right now it's on my belly button, but it's like a burning, it's mugwort, so you burn it through, but that's not necessarily, something that everyone should do. Yeah, so I've been doing these things. I then meditate. um, I try to do at least 10 minutes. Sometimes 3 is all I can manage. Particularly, I've noticed that the more tired I get, the harder it is to meditate at night. But so I meditate, I brush my teeth. I would have already showered a bit earlier too, because my skincare needs time to absorb. And then I read. So I do read. By the time I read, I generally am very tired anyway. So my books are very slow going, but I do read, and it helps to kind of relax the mind into a book. Yeah, whatever it is, whatever pleases. So that's been my routine, and it does help me sleep. I'm usually asleep by 10 p.m. That's another tip, to kind of go to bed earlier. But my evening routine, probably all in all, takes like everything that I've described after dinner, maybe an hour and a half. So it is quite relaxed, I would say. But yeah, I'm mindful about the things that I allow in it. And obviously, I will say it a bit further, but like no doom scrolling, none of that. Everything that kind of like sucks with your sleep, don't even go there. Another one I would say is ask for help. Understand that you might not get it, because not everybody can provide the help, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't ask. Practice asking, even things that sometimes you might think like people might not be able to give you, but it's no longer you, right? Like that's somebody else's business. Your business is to ask for help and identify what help you need, ask for help. Somebody else's business is to refuse, or try to communicate, maybe there's something else that they can do, something like that. But your job is to ask for help. And yeah, understand that you might not get it. And then you'll have to metabolize it, but just don't stay alone. So that can be, from people that you don't know what. I've noticed that a lot of people, and by myself included, I would never learn to ask for help. And actually, people are really receptive. I've met incredible kindness in the last few months that I didn't think I deserved or I could find. And in truth, it had to be from me opening up, though. If I hadn't opened up, no one would know that I needed help, and so no one would give it to me. So learn to ask. Another thing is get support from professionals. So whatever professional in your situation might apply, but just don't hesitate to contact whatever professional. I've been in therapy for a long time, so it's not related at all to my life in right now. It's just, I've been in 7 years, so that has really been helpful. But acupuncture is another one also that I've been going to that's been really supportive. But I don't know, maybe like a PT or someone like that, like anyone that applies to you, a nutritionist, like anyone. It's really important to ask for help from professionals. There's people that have a lot of experience helping others, and they're happy to ask to help you. You do have to ask, you do have to seek them out, but they can be transformational in your life. Another thing that has been extremely helpful, the fourth tip, is to accept reality for what it is. And that is something that when you're in a spiral, it's really hard to remember. But reality is, and sometimes it can be really hard because kind of whatever happened usually is quite disruptive to your environment. You had like your life was going a certain way and then it's not. And you have to manage that. But you do have to accept, things as they are. It's also, you need to stop sort of future doom, because sometimes when something is disruptive, it can be really hard to remember that you don't know the future, because it might seem that when you're not in a crisis, it might seem that you know what the future holds. But in truth, no one does. The future is unknown. That's why it's the future. So it's not, you're trying to create, sometimes your brain is like, when there's so many things going on, you're trying to create certainty, but certainty in that way cannot be created. There's no amount of, future planning or future, like, trying to get you out of the situation that can help in that sense, because you can't know that. So it's an artificial way, and it kind of, there's no end, so you could always kind of spiral and think, oh, what about this, what about that, but you'll never know. So it's just a way for your mind to create certainty, but it will never work. So learn to interrupt these kind of spirals and just re-anchor yourself into the present moment, because that's all we ever have. um, I wrote that painful clarity reduces suffering. I think a lot of our suffering is about the idea of what could happen or what should have happened. But in truth, when you accept reality for what it is, as painful as it is, it will eventually, and even in some way immediately, reduce your suffering. Yeah. So don't create artificial safety by trying to, kind of make up ideas, or, yeah, there's no way of knowing. You just have to accept it. And you will have to accept it also, not just this once. You'll have to accept it every day, several times a day. Several times a day I pulled myself out of spiral. Not so much anymore, but it is hard. It is just hard. You just have to remember that it's not you, it's just hard. I put also in, because that can be really helpful, to give yourself practical boundaries. What I mean by that is, don't late night scroll for information, whatever that information is. Put yourself some boundaries around the times that you can do certain things. Limit sort of that time, even if you feel like, like whatever it is, like an hour or two a day, or half an hour, or 5 minutes, if that's all you can do or all you can take. So but limit that, And in my experience, I deal better with heavy, difficult information at the beginning of the day. So kind of by the time it hits like even afternoon, but more practically like 4 or 5 p.m., there's no way that I can process difficult thoughts or difficult information, or just more like, intense things. So just learn to reduce and give yourself like sort of boundaries in time of the day. And yeah, and if you have thoughts about like these things, either write them down, because know that one single, it's not going to make it or break it, So if you have to put it to the side and address it tomorrow, I know how hard it is, but try to kind of do that. So write down whatever it is, or limit really the amount of like, crazy thought that you can have. Just limit, and say nothing needs to be solved right now. Right now my job is to relax, or right now my job is to watch this TV show, right now my job is to cook a meal. Just learn to put things to the side until you can address them. So yeah. But also limit social media. That's another big one. Because it can be kind of an escape a little bit, but it can also increase a little bit the anxiety that you might feel when you're in a crisis. So limiting social media is a big one. And another one is to continue to engage with practical life. And what that means is whatever practical life means to you, the laundry, the cleaning, the cooking, I don't know, walking the dog, whatever job or anything like that you may have, like continue to engage with the practical aspects of your life. It will help reduce the cognitive load on you. I've noticed actually that although some things are like a pain for me to do, the more physical tasks actually help me to escape the swirl that's happening inside my mind. So actually the cooking helps, the walking helps, the cleaning helps. So all these like practical things really help reduce the pressure that you might feel, because it does, when you're in a crisis, you feel like everything is immediate and requires your attention and problem solving now. In reality, it's not. And you have to give yourself like a container in which to operate, like give yourself like a central command from which to operate, this crisis. And it means that you have to cover your immediate needs of, safety and food and practical living first, and then kind of create like little pockets for you to address the situation in small little bits. Another one is to externalize honestly into something. So that something for me personally has been friends, but it also is writing. It's also filming. So filming, not these videos, but just filming videos that are honest and where I can share honestly and write honestly, just like and speak to friends honestly. So find ways to externalize that, but it also like make sure to move this energy maybe in other ways. Maybe it's dancing, maybe it's running, maybe it's like any kind of physical activity. Beware of like physical injuries, because sometimes you might want to escape out of it and it's not necessarily possible. Just beware that you don't injure yourself by over exercising. That's another one. But it could be also painting or drawing or any kind of like more artful, more like externalizing kind of energy. So put these like all these emotions that you're feeling into something. And that kind of gets me into another one, is to allow these emotions, whatever they are, to exist. And so the anger, the sadness, the grief, the joy, maybe the relief, I don't know, whatever it is, just give them like, find a way outside of yourself to let them exist and let them pass through you. I've learned recently that actually, I actually learned in this book that our emotions are like the impulse of the emotion is actually 90 seconds. And so anything above that is the story that is created by the mind around that emotion. And isn't that interesting? So yeah, that's kind of unrelated, because this book I wanted to read for a long time already, but kind of now has been the perfect time. So that has been an amazing resource for me, but just in my personal life in general. But yeah, maybe there's another one to read, like, books that you like. It kind of brings me nicely to my final point, but it's to expand. I wrote also for the Externalise, you can garden. But you need to expand sort of your life, because sometimes when a crisis happens, it feels like it's all encompassing and your whole entire being is being pulled into it, when in reality it's just a part of your life, but it's not your whole you. So learn to expand yourself into your life and to reconnect with your desire. Desire is about what you want. It's about your life force. It's about connecting to all the different pieces of you. So for me, reading and self-development is one, but there's like a million other things. So do more things, talk to different people, whatever you might have like kind of slightly let go of, reconnect to all these little things, that you like, and connect to your aliveness and remind yourself that you are alive. And so connect to that life force of yours that will, I think you need to learn the things that take your energy. So probably when you're in a crisis dealing with it, it's very energy draining. So you need ways to kind of replenish. So as I said, it's the food, it's the sleep, it's the container around which, to create some safety for yourself. But it's also to reconnect to the things you love and want, and that make you feel alive, and connect to your pleasure. So whatever that might mean to you, it's super important to engage with it. Walking in nature, just rediscover or refine or or create a list of things that give you energy and reconnect you to yourself. It's super important. You can't, pour from an empty cup, so you do need to replenish your life force. So you need to find ways in which to do that. I think that's it. I hope that was helpful. It comes from firsthand experience, so everything that I shared has been instrumental to me. That's how I've been living my life and doing really well. So I hope it helps. And if you are a people pleaser, I thought about talking about this book actually, but there you go, I have. So, yeah, if you're a people pleaser, this is a must read. I'm not usually someone who thinks like, oh, I'm super thirsty, it's super hot. I'm not someone who is usually who likes like tips and tricks. So this is not it. It's a more profound work about how to stop people pleasing and what people pleasing is and why do we do it. And yeah, it's instrumental. I highly and learning how to listen to yourself. Highly recommend. I hope it helps. I hope whatever you're going through, just know, and that's maybe my parting thought, it will end. Everything ends. Everything. The good, the bad, everything ends. We have a famous quote by a scientist that says, nothing is, what is it? Nothing is born, nothing, rien ne se perd, rien ne se crée, tout se transforme. Nothing is lost, nothing is created, everything is transformed. So there you go. I think it was Lavoisier, if I remember correctly. So there you go. I wish you well. Stay soft. I was going to say stay strong. No, stay soft. Stay soft. Good luck.